Space force through your tape. We fast forward, we came through that time warp. Your foreheads look like warp. Everybody look confused, huh? How do we make these moves, huh? How do we always improve, huh? No, we ain't nothing like you. We on top cause we don't stop and all we do is gradual. Everyone's so grouchy cause they puppets and we animals. We don't whine, we just break bread with the team. Holy mackerel. Know us, and we raining, better grab a boat.
We a different breed, talking alien. Survivor of the fittest and we play to win. Grab another bounty and get paid again. Then we fade into the dark like a gradient. Dark like a gradient. Dark like a gradient.
Space force through your tape. We fast forward, we came through that time warp. Your foreheads look like warp. Everybody look confused, huh? How do we make these moves, huh? How do we always improve, huh? No, we ain't nothing like you. We on top cause we don't stop and all we do is gradual. Everyone's so grouchy cause they puppets and we animals. We don't whine, we just break bread with the team. Holy mackerel. Know us, and we raining, better grab a boat.
Who poked the bear? You better go in there. My fireworks in the sky like a Roman air. An imposer in the throne, and it stole my chair. Any moment here could become a polar bear. It's cold in here, in a flash like a solar flare. The Vulcan here, my whole career. They cloak the beer, they won't get over me and then it won't appear. In iguana like a fauna, now I go to be deer.
Space force through your tape. We fast forward, we came through that time warp. Your foreheads look like warp. Everybody look confused, huh? How do we make these moves, huh? How do we always improve, huh? No, we ain't nothing like you. We on top cause we don't stop and all we do is gradual. Everyone's so grouchy cause they puppets and we animals. We don't whine, we just break bread with the team. Holy mackerel. Know us, and we raining, better grab a boat. Space force through your tape. We fast forward, we came through that time warp. Your foreheads look like warp. Everybody look confused, huh? How do we make these moves, huh? How do we always improve, huh? No, we ain't nothing like you. We on top cause we don't stop and all we do is gradual. Everyone's so grouchy cause they puppets and we animals. We don't whine, we just break bread with the team. Holy mackerel. Know us, and we raining, better grab a boat.
Wow. Space Force, wow. Catch me walking through your hood just like I'm Kimberly Classic. It's time to face it, we fighting now for the next generation. Stop being basic, we at war, battle for all creation. The truth can align with any lie, no matter how you would place it. The son of man's like scatter flock. The kids people like pass a lot. Who preach the truth with no mask and not spread fear and hate for an aftershock. Millions lost cause the faith is shook. The pandemic threw a major hook, just like the punch that Nader took. The sound alone is what made you look for a place you can run to. Safe from devils that will hunt you. Say you're not ready but he's on you. So please shine bright like the sun do. Ooh. Wondering why many churches are closed. Illiberal policies going unopposed. Stand up in faith and abandon he goes. On progress I'm working but he already knows.
I can't find the words to say what I feel, what I discern. When the devil tries to persuade me, God will work wonders. When I can't find the words to say what I feel, what I discern. When the devil tries to persuade me, God will work wonders.
Yeah, here come that devil again. Must be a lib always meddling. He knows I ain't gon' let him in. I ain't a beta male, I ain't feminine. I got the medicine, I don't play. I ain't better than I won't sway. I lack melanin, I'm an elephant. I'ma tell the truth and no shame. Y'all think I'ma just fold. I'ma fight the fight, I won't roll. I'ma light the light and my light is bright cause I know that I'm not alone. I'm in my zone, he's on the throne. I'm not confused, he's on my dome. I ain't no rat, ain't no Democrat. I am a God, he never will cap, okay? Mask off and stop fearing. Grab a job and move your rear end. Take a look at my past, I was freaking. In fact, got my foot on the gas and he's steering. Whoa. Now when the devil talking, please don't run. Snatch that coward by the throat and tell him I'm with the sun. He'll leave you alone for a little, but he coming for you. Just put your faith in him, cause God could work wonders for you, okay?
I can't find the words to say what I feel, what I discern. When the devil tries to persuade me, God will work wonders. When I can't find the words to say what I feel, what I discern. When the devil tries to persuade me, God will work wonders.
All right.
Welcome to Plausible Foolishness. I am the mad scientist, Matt. This is Dusty. We're going to change scenes really quick to try and get this webcam working properly. So, go back to starting and let's see if we can fix this.
I told him someday I would buy.
Alright, you try to play with the properties and the filter on the webcam, and we'll go ahead and get this thing on the roll. Welcome to Plausible Foolishness.
At least they can hear us.
Yes,
That is a plus. You guys can hear us this time.
this was a perfect screen.
Yes.
Perfect. Mwah.
We had
Chef's
everything
kiss,
working.
Perfect. But it, you switch it, and then the computer's like, nah, you know what? No, I'm good. Anyway, so, it's Plausible Foolishness, home of the Rube Empire, where the people are free, the taxes are voluntary, and we serve freshly roasted liberal logic every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. right here on twitch.tv/plausiblepoolishness, Facebook Live, YouTube, anywhere you can get podcasts. We're also on minds.com and Instagram, and we're living life large. No, not NDI source. It'll be, yeah, somehow that should just be webcam. For the, no, filters. Okay, and then just try to tweak the, it'll be, yeah. Better. Anyway, I'm the Philosopher King, coming to you live while Dusty's trying to fix this awful green screen. It's insane how this stuff goes. So now you've got that. Now you need, no, that's good. You don't want to change that because you got most of it. Now you just need to tweak the other settings too. Uh-oh.
That's not supposed
Riveting podcast material right here.
to. This is so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It'll be, so similarity needs to go up. Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
That'll be good enough. Yeah.
Okay. All right, people.
And you'll cast a shadow. It's been perfect for weeks.
Yeah.
So dumb.
Our audio's been great last couple of weeks.
Yep.
And then last
week
show.
it was horrendous. This week I
Deep
think
State, I tell you what, I'm coming after you. You hear me, brother?
So. To my right, you know him, you love him. His name is Dusty.
The producer.
He's the right hand of the Kings. He's also been made a kick-ass Duke. And, yeah. He's filling in for Ray while Ray's on sabbatical of some sort.
I like
indefinite sabbatical, we'll call it.
I hopefully not indefinite, but short-term indefinite.
Outsource your production team, it's the American way. It's true. You're right, Deep State. That is the American way. Let's make it cheaper so that people can consume it.
Yep.
Slave
No.
labor. Pff, who cares?
Who cares about that? Oh, I know the Democrats don't care.
Mhm.
Otherwise, they'd have a problem with Nike.
Have you heard about the Freedom Phone?
The Freedom Phone?
You haven't heard about this?
No.
It's a phone made in America. It's supposed to, protect your privacy and all that stuff. Does not use Android or Microsoft or Apple operating system. Has its own. I think it's an open source operating system, but I'm not sure about that.
What is it, Linux?
Might be. I don't know. But it seems like it's fully functional and it's like $500 somehow.
How in the world do you do that?
I don't know.
You have to
Oh.
forgive our sweat, everybody.
With
It
the
is-
strong one in the chat, he says he owns the deep state, trying to stir up trouble, get assassinated,
Strong one!
get killeried. So let's go ahead and get the show. First of all, how are you doing, Dusty? How are you doing?
I'm surviving. It's been a interesting week, but so far so good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Anything,
You? How are you doing?
Doing good. I've been working some freelance stuff for my brother in the motion graphics arena.
Okay. All right. That sounds interesting.
It is interesting, and so that's been fun. Been also trying to beautify my lawn, which has
Yep.
been challenging.
Especially with all the rain that we've been getting, because you
Yeah.
cut it and 5 minutes later it's back to the same height again.
That, and it's raining all the time, so you can't actually cut it.
Yeah.
But yep. Now the strong one and Deep State we got the back and forth going.
Oh, great.
We-
Girls, you're both
And this
pretty.
is why you need to join us. If you're listening on the podcast or you're watching on YouTube
Or Facebook.
or Facebook Live, first of all, welcome. Why don't you put it on multi-stream because we missed some chats before.
Some multi-stream chats.
Yeah.
Multi-stream.
But
Yeah, we don't want to miss anything from Lilu Dallas.
no. And what were we talking about? Was I talking about the lawn?
Yeah. Talking about the lawn.
Yeah, my lawn. Well, when we bought the house 2 years ago, it's just completely ridden with weeds, and it's just a pain. Nothing, but I'm working on it. I'm making progress. Anyway,
Okay.
we didn't come here to talk about lawns. We came here to talk about.
We came here to talk about movies.
Came here to talk about movies. We came here to talk about the decaying culture and the downfall of America.
The
that
failure
we
of
are
shows
witnessing
that haven't even come out yet.
before our eyes. Failure of shows.
Yeah.
Like what?
He-Man.
Oh.
It's supposed to premiere on Friday.
Okay.
It's already got a negative score on IMDb.
What about Rotten Tomatoes? Like critics basically are giving it negatives, right?
Yes.
Probably because it's, I don't know, manly.
Probably a lot of that, yeah.
Because it promotes a strong masculine hero.
Strong masculine white hero
Ooh.
versus a colored villain.
Colored?
Yeah.
I mean,
he's purple.
he's a skull.
Yeah,
he's a
purple.
Skeletor.
Yeah, he's purple.
I mean, you'd think that might be a stretch, but it's
No.
really not today.
He's a flying for purple people leader.
Well, you know what else? Speaking of bombs, though,
Yeah.
Speaking of things failing, Space Jam came out. Space Jam 2.
It did.
I believe so.
It's
Because-
news to me.
Yeah. Because I just read an article that said it bombed, and China won't even play it. China won't even let them let them play it in their theaters, despite how much LeBron James has kissed
Isn't he
China's
huge in
big
China?
fat red butt.
China?
Yeah, he is huge, literally and
Huge.
figuratively,
Huge,
in China.
ginormous.
But yeah, apparently that means nothing. China don't want it, and
Well,
the CCP doesn't want it.
To be fair, America doesn't want it either.
Yeah, good point. Good point. But I don't think it's the people of China who are just not going to. It's not that they're not going to see it. It's that it's not even allowed in the country
Yeah.
because
Isn't that
'cause
great?
communism.
A bastion of freedom right there.
Oh yeah, China's just the best, isn't it?
Oh, it's I wish I was in China.
No. I finished Loki.
Finally, I can talk about Loki.
Well, listen. I watch it with my wife while you're watching it, on your lunch break.
No, I watch it on my way here.
Same difference.
Yeah. Well, technically, I'm not watching it. I'm mostly listening to it.
Well, that's even worse. Because,
Why?
it's a TV show. You're supposed to
Yeah.
view it.
Really? Is
Yeah.
that how it's done?
It's made to be viewed. Yeah. With your eyes. But honestly, I've done the same thing in the car. I like to put on a little Dr. Disrespect as I'm driving home sometimes.
Crowder, Ben Shapiro,
Yeah.
Plausible Foolishness.
Never watched an episode of Never watched a full episode.
Seriously?
Nope.
Oh, I watch all the time.
Well, I mean, you're the producer, so you're looking at ways to make it better.
That's true. This is true.
I'm doing the same thing, but from a different point of view.
Okay.
So
Getting back to Loki.
it's hard to watch myself. I mean, it's not like terrible. It's just, I remember saying it all, so don't really need to listen to it again. Anyway, not important. Loki. What did you think of the last episode?
I thought it was fun. It
Yeah.
was, I loved the reveal. And
Did
by
you
the way,
like the way-
just a heads up, hold on. We have spoilers in this, so if you have not
Yeah.
seen the ending and you are a snowflake about spoilers, you might not want to watch this part. Just skip ahead, wait about 10 minutes, and
Yeah.
yeah,
So, spoilers now.
spoiler.
Did you like the way the guy, the he who remains?
Kang the Conqueror.
Well, he's not King the Conqueror.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Well, not that variant.
Exactly. But that's
He's a variant of King the Conqueror.
Yes.
And yeah, as soon
So-
as he said he was from the 31st century, it's like, it's Kang.
But did you like the way he? I thought he was a good actor.
Oh,
But did
great
you like
actor.
the direction that they had him take in the character?
I thought it was a very unique way of doing that character, considering what he is in the comic books, versus this.
Well, see, but we haven't seen the one that we
actual
see in
King.
the. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We've seen a variant, and this variant has been holding things together for eons,
Yep.
and
Again
has
and again.
kind of lost his mind. But
Yeah.
but like still perfectly sane. Just
He has grip on somewhat of reality, and yet at the same time, he's lost all.
well, I think it's just he's lost his social.
Nuance.
He's
Yeah.
lost his social mores. Because he hasn't been around another person for who knows how long.
Yeah.
But I thought it was an interesting twist. I hate fate
The idea of fate.
to a certain degree. Like I like playing with fate, but when you really get down to fate, when you really get down to what is fate, there's no playing with it.
It either is or isn't.
Yeah, something is fated or it isn't. How can you have something that's not fated to be, come to be? It doesn't happen. If there is a world in which fate has interaction,
Understood.
Now, there's a. I can't set it down until after we start. I'm just gonna have to pull the audio. I'm just gonna close this. I forgot to start the audio recording.
Sorry, podcast people.
Well, they'll still get a good quality podcast. It's just it just makes more work for me to make it happen. Anyway, so there is an interesting alternative that I've read in some. It's what are called wuxia comics. I've told you about this.
Yeah.
Basically, they're like these Chinese stories about this cultivator, and a cultivator is like a martial artist who, cultivates his chi and all that stuff, and becomes way stronger despite his lower level because of the special cultivations that he's done. And it's very complicated, but it's basically one person way stronger than they should be, advancing at rapid rates, but there's a vast world ahead of him,
Goku.
Sort of. But Goku always comes across just the next stronger opponent.
Yes.
There's a path of, there's okay, so someone starts out on their Earth realm cultivator, and then they become a Sky realm cultivator, and then as they level up, they're now a heaven or not even heaven. It'll be something else. Origin realm, Saint realm, origin returning realm, realm lord, heavenly venerate. Well, in this one version, the heavenly venerates all have a fate that is given to them, that they win in the form of a crown, and it once they're locked into a fate, that's the highest that they can ever reach. But it will increase their powers greatly, and have something to do with the world at large and their place in history. It's very strange.
All right.
And then
I'm waiting for the tie-in to Loki.
well, okay, so no, it's not even the tie into Loki. It's just a different play on fate,
Oh, okay.
So the main character has no fate, and that can happen because, the fates are really tied to these specific things, and there's only a set amount per world, and it goes on to that. I thought that was an interesting tie on fate, but that was totally a tangent. Anyway,
Just a little bit.
so yeah, Loki. So it seems that they were, all along, they were fated to meet up with He Who Remains, and he had orchestrated everything to bring them there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then he basically left it up to them. Do they kill him and release the multiverse, or do they
Release the variants.
take over for him? Well, yeah, but in so doing, releasing the multiverse, because
Well-
there's only one verse at that point, because he had restrained them all.
The TVA wasn't the only ones controlling that flow of time. The Sorcerer Supreme, prior to Doctor Strange, was doing the exact same thing. When she initially started talking to Doctor Strange and training him, she talked about the multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
How they gather energy from the multiverse and whatnot. Then in Avengers Infinity War, when the Hulk is trying to get the stone from her, she even talks about how there's one timeline. And if you take one of the stones away, the timeline variance
Mm-hmm.
goes off.
Yeah.
So all the groundwork was already set up for this whole
Well,
thing.
what's interesting though is that this whole thing is not happening post Thanos.
Yes. It's
This is all
pre-Thanos.
happening post the first Avengers movie.
Correct.
So, really,
Well, to our
they may have
timeline.
unlocked the multiverse. They may have unlocked the multiverse, and then the rest of the world, you know, including the Sorcerer Supreme, might be just experiencing it from that point.
Correct.
You know, and then, you know, as if it had always been.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously they're not looking at time as, you know, the past is gone forever and the future is yet to be written. Although they're kind of looking at it like that.
Well,
Weird.
the TVA's in a pocket universe where there is no time,
Sure.
and they keep accessing different time periods
Mhm.
throughout the multiverse. So you have a whole bunch of
Yeah, whenever a variant breaks off,
they go in and
they
trim
cut.
it. So they're
But then
accessing all this
that
different
leads
stuff.
us to wonder, you know, okay, so then it still doesn't explain fully the main bad guy from Doctor Strange.
Dormammu.
Dormammu, thank you. So maybe this isn't the multiverse that we're talking about. It's just, but it kind of is.
It is a multiverse.
So,
I mean, just look
but
at all the
Dormammu's
Thors
outside
that
of
have been
time.
trimmed.
So this is a time. This is
Dormammu's not outside of time.
yes, he is.
He's in his own pocket universe.
Well, that's outside of time.
That's outside of our timeline.
No, like
But
there
he
is.
can-
He
he's
doesn't.
accessing-
No, he doesn't experience. There is no time.
Then how did he get caught in a time loop?
That's what. That's exactly how Doctor Strange defeated him. He introduced time in a time loop to Dormammu, caught him in that trap, and that's why he didn't even know what was really going on. And
He didn't understand it because he'd never experienced time.
exactly.
That's an interesting theory. Ooh. Ooh.
But I mean, they were explicit in saying that there is no time where he is. You know, it's timeless or whatever. But you know, again, how does this play into
Everything else.
And maybe they won't explain it. Maybe it'll just be like, oh, we didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
And that happens. It's hard. It's very hard to world build,
And
especially when you
end up
involve time
retconning
and
and-
multiverses and all that crap. Well, I mean, the comics have retconned forever.
yeah, it's just a staple of what they do.
But I did think it was interesting and should be explained somehow why Loki comes back to the TVA and remembers everything, but suddenly nobody in the TVA realizes.
Because it's a variant TVA.
So he just came back to a variant TVA.
Yeah. Where rather than having the three time
Keepers.
keepers,
It was just Kang.
he's just Kane the Conqueror.
So he basically he pulled a Marty McFly, coming back to the '80s,
Yep. Jumped in and
and Biff has taken over.
essentially, yeah. Yeah. So now they have
Gotcha.
to deal with that.
Gotcha. Okay.
So fun stuff all around. Have you seen any of the Bad Batch
No, I've not.
episodes?
Did you watch the video I sent you about the Green Knight?
Yes.
Looks good, right?
It looks very good. I actually really I thought that might have been a fun romp.
Have you guys seen anything about the Green Knight? It's a movie that's supposed to be coming out soon. It looks really interesting. Like,
It looks like an original
Yeah.
idea.
well, I mean, apparently it's from an ancient story. You know, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, but there's only like, according to that info video about the source of the movie, there's only one copy of it that there's ever been. You know, they've only ever found one copy of the story. And so it's an Arthurian legend. It's Sir Gawain. You know, basically, I think he's like the youngest knight of the Round Table. He's not
Yes.
done any heroic deeds yet. You know. And then this Green Knight comes.
He's not
and
like Sir Robin who runs away.
sort of, but except that this guy doesn't run away. And so
It's too perilous.
this giant knight who looks like he's made of, you know, trees, comes in and challenges one of them to attack him. And you know, if one of them can fight him and land a blow, you know, honor them or something like that.
Won't
And-
destroy the kingdom, whatever.
Yeah.
Goliath and
there'll
David.
There'll be more explanation, but he doesn't. The Green Knight doesn't seem like he's particularly evil, but like maybe some kind of harbinger of,
Yeah.
of something. Anyway,
It looks interesting.
yeah, it looks super interesting. What I like the most about it is the way they've kind of they've taken this old Arthurian legend and they're presenting it in kind of the milieu of an Arthurian legend, but somehow they're tweaking it just ever so slightly so that it feels very modern.
Yeah, very new.
And some of it's just like the typography that they're using in the titles, and some like the cuts that they're showing, and I mean the advertisements for it all is very modern, take, but still the milieu of Arthurian legend.
I like
I'm
the
super,
idea.
I'm
of
super
it.
stoked to watch it. I think it'll be very entertaining.
The other one I'm excited to watch, but has really not gotten a lot of press, is Snake Eyes.
Oh, G.I. Joe Origins.
Well, yes, but the title is just Snake Eyes.
Well, it's Snake Eyes.
Yeah,
G.I. Joe Origins.
Which no offense to G.I. Joe, Snake Eyes has always been the best.
Oh, yeah.
He's always been my
100%.
favorite. The
He's
story,
everybody's favorite.
the storyline for him is just so good. I've always loved. I wish they would have gone more into it.
I mean, I loved G.I. Joe when I was young, but I barely remember anything of
The storyline of it.
Yeah. I just know, Cobra Commander. I remember Serpentor and
Oh yeah.
all that stuff. I remember the movie more than anything.
Mhm.
The individual episodes. The thing I remember the most are the PSAs at the end. And then, have you seen the mock PSAs that they've...
Oh yeah.
Massage machine, go! Anyway,
Yeah.
but the G.I. Joe movies have been
Just
abysmal.
awful. I don't care how good The Rock is. He can't save him.
No, they're bad.
Yes.
Very bad.
Well,
Well, when you put a Wayans brother in, an action movie, you're asking for it to be bad. I'm sorry.
Well, they never actually captured the joy or the interesting aspects of G.I. Joe. The interesting aspects were they had these really cool vehicles that they would jump in and fight each other.
Mm-hmm.
And there was these big, grandiose battles.
Yeah.
They never had that in any of the movies. It was always hand-to-hand combat, or
And that's cool, but like,
it's
even- and
cinematically cool and easy to do,
Mhm.
but it's not G.I. Joe.
Yeah, I mean, G.I. Joe's more of a wrecking ball than a
Yeah,
covert
exactly.
strike team.
It's how high can we jump this car?
While Snake Eyes was the covert strike team,
Yes.
he was the man who went in alone, and so you think you're fighting all of G.I. Joe, and then there comes Snake Eyes behind you, and you
Oops.
lost, Cobra Commander.
You just destroyed that
But the
thing
real
that we
deal is
need
that
to
they-
destroy G.I. Joe.
Exactly. The real deal is that Cobra, they didn't do it justice in any way, shape, or form.
They weren't menacing.
They weren't menacing. Their plans were garbage. It just was
Granted, the show, their plans were garbage too.
true. But this is your opportunity to make it better, not make
Yep.
it
Yep.
modern.
Exactly.
Make it actually good.
Fun.
But
It should be fun.
Snake Eyes looks interesting.
Yeah, the story of Snake Eyes is he was an orphan kid. He essentially started working for a ninja master, and the ninja master's son was also getting trained, and they were about the same age. And the kid was just doing chores and whatnot. He was a peasant, and ended up the master saw potential in him, and so he started training him as well alongside his son. And his son was Snake Eyes' enemy, Storm Shadow. And one day, some assassins from a rival dojo killed the master and made it look like Snake Eyes did it.
So he's on the run now.
So Storm Shadow, thinking he killed his father, has been hunting him down, and as well as Storm Shadow was always jealous of the relationship that his father had with Snake Eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And Snake Eyes, from that moment on, when he was killed, took a vow of silence until he killed the people that killed his master.
Interesting.
So, just that little snippet. That's all they showed in the cartoon. And then in the comic books, there's even more because you have Jinx, and Jinx was also his daughter that was very young, that also got trained. So I'm hoping they bring all of those different characters into it, 'cause it's a fun little romp
Cool.
with a lot of
Um,
action.
Okay, last thing for this topic.
Okay.
I've gotten my girls into Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. This week.
Really?
And
Which
they
version?
are Mighty Morphin, the original.
Oh, the original. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
And they are. I thought they might find this interesting. And here's the interesting thing. Like I watched it a bit when I was younger, when it first came on.
Yeah, who
you
didn't?
know. But I didn't truly love it because every episode is the same. Thank you, Sarah Maloney, for the like. Welcome to the Rube Empire.
Appreciate that.
And so, Power Rangers, they, every episode is the same. It's very formulaic,
Of course.
but like formulaic to the nth degree. You know,
Yes.
like an episode of Pokemon, unless it's a gym episode.
Correct.
Every time they went to the gym, those were great episodes. Every episode in between,
Formulaic.
so formulaic, and so I couldn't get into either of them because of that. But
It's jumping the shark.
yeah,
Each
for sure.
episode.
Yeah, definitely. And so, but I got enough enjoyment out of it. Like I still know that the Green Ranger is the baddest of all time, and I watched when he became the White Ranger, and that was awesome. All of that was great. But I didn't love it. But I decided I would introduce it to my girls and think they might get a little kick out of this, but they'll probably get bored of it after a couple episodes and want to watch what they want to watch, Spirit and other stuff like that. They love it. They love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
And them loving it has made me find a newfound appreciation for it.
Isn't that weird how that happens?
It is weird. And so I'm excited to see, because they still have a show that came out in 2021.
They're still making Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, yes.
Yeah, it's not Mighty Morphin, but it's it's a new
Power
variant,
Rangers. Yeah.
And so I'm interested to see if the stories got better over time. If they started implementing overarching storylines and stuff like that. Probably not.
Yes, in some of them they did. In a lot of them,
No.
it's still very formulaic.
Yeah.
My oldest son got into Power Rangers about 2 years ago,
Mhm.
and at that time it was Beast,
Yeah.
the Beast Power Rangers. Anyways,
Beast Morphers or whatever.
Beast Morphers, yeah. And so I ended up watching Power Rangers again with him. He wasn't really too keen on the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but the later ones he liked those a lot more. And so I watched those with him, and they weren't as bad as I remember them being. So it was kind of fun to find this commonality with him
Yeah.
and watch them with him. And
Well, they're loving Mighty Morphin, and I made them wait to watch the Green Ranger episodes
Ooh.
with me.
those are actually when the show actually started to get better.
Yeah. And when Rita Repulsa turns, Jason Frank is the actor, but Tommy
Tommy, yep.
into her Green Ranger to defeat the Power Rangers. It's good stuff. Anyway.
So, question for you: did you ever watch the YouTube short clip of the Power Rangers?
Is it the one with James Vanderbeek?
Yes.
No, my wife found it and was showing it to the girls until they started cursing, and then she was like, "Whoa, what is this?"
No. It's not for the girls.
Yeah.
But it is. If they ever made that into a movie,
Mhm.
that would be an awesome Power Rangers movie. Very dark,
Mhm.
very
Well,
Batman
they
Returns.
They would have to make it for the original generation, but there's too many there's too many kids that still watch it, so it's really not. And like Saban's is not going to do that because
No.
their market is kids. You know?
Their market is
And
their
frankly-
market is the toys.
Yeah, well, their market is the toys, which is for kids,
Yes.
and then kids are going to be the ones to, they'll make so much more money if it's a kids movie.
True.
As evidenced, I think, by the one with Elizabeth Banks as Rita Repulsa.
Yeah.
I don't think it did that well. It wasn't.
It
She
did-
was actually really good as
No,
the
I'm
villain.
not saying that she wasn't good. The movie was not good.
Yeah, the movie wasn't great. She was.
But
she
they
was
really-
really good.
They really
But
did
the,
try with that one.
They were. Power Rangers has got to be for kids.
Find me teenagers with attitude.
So bad. Oh god, it's so bad.
It's so cheesy.
Yeah, and his the graphics on his face in the it's so
The
terrible,
original.
so bad. Anyway, ay ay ay, ay ay ay. Shut up, Alpha.
At least it's not bitty bitty bitty.
Is that one of the newer ones?
No, that's from it was an old sci-fi.
Oh,
I want to say
Lost in
Battlestar Galactica.
Space?
No, that's
Danger,
Danger.
Will Robinson.
it's just, the robots have always been really cheesy,
Yeah.
but
Anyway,
enjoyable nonetheless.
okay, now on to
Actual
the
stuff.
nitty-gritty stuff. So,
I
title
want-
of the episode is Why Are We Still Talking About January 6th?
I actually want to read her comment.
Yeah, Red Baron 1000 says, we are still talking about January 6th because dudes literally stopped an election count by storming the U.S. Capitol building.
You do realize that the count was over in December.
Well,
We
they were there for the Senate's counting of it.
The ratification, not the counting.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it was the delegates presenting their.
Yes.
So in
The
that
findings.
respect, that counting, the electoral college counting, if you will. But
Yeah, well, the electoral's presentation of, all right, this is who we've found to be president, and that's to the Congress as part of all of that. Now, was it stopped? No,
well,
it was interrupted,
it was interrupted, yes.
but it wasn't stopped.
and they
and
weren't storming
No,
the Capitol building.
you got to imagine.
If you think that that's what happened, then you need to go watch the videos of them walking around inside the Capitol building, because storming they were not.
I watched the entire clip.
The other thing
of-
is good, because that election was stolen, and they had every right to.
It was
We, the
a-
people, have every right to demand a fair and free election.
yes, I agree with that.
Now,
Do I think
the
it was
violence?
stolen?
No. Do I think that they should have actually broken down the doors and gone inside, which they didn't do? But like, should it have gone that far?
No.
No. But frankly, they didn't knock down the doors. There were some idiots trying to break windows, and they got stopped by people in the crowd.
Yes.
We know that there was Antifa plants in the crowd.
Yes. Well, okay, I want you people to realize how big these crowds were. There were almost 1 million people there.
Mm-hmm.
That's how big these crowds were.
Yeah.
The entire, it was just droves of people.
Mm-hmm.
So, hundreds of thousands, close to 1 million people are all here to listen to the president talk. And I actually watched the speech live. I was not there. I was here in Florida watching it. And it just astonished me how many people were there. And then the millions of people that were watching it live. And then to watch the videos that came out afterwards of these people walking up and just surrounding the Capitol, and then the Capitol Police taking down the barricades, not the people doing it, the Capitol Police taking down the barricades, and then opening the doors to the Capitol and saying, come on in.
Now, you have the woman Ashley Babbitt who gets shot,
Yes.
and she's like, she and other people are like, breaking down.
They're actually physically
shattering
breaking barriers.
windows in a door, trying to push through.
Yes.
Then you have this, bodiless arm that just sticks out a gun and shoots her. It's very, that whole scenario is very strange. You got this
It's
guy who's just on his
extraordinarily
phone
weird.
walking down the hallway and gets caught on camera, and he's like, oh, and then moves off camera,
Yeah.
like just stroll, talking on
Don't
his
mind
cell
me.
phone. Oh, I know that there's people breaking down a door and somebody just got shot, but it's cool. I'm this is an important phone call. Weird stuff. And
Very
on top of a known Antifa, member in that crowd agitating things.
Correct.
None of this is real.
It
But-
stinks, is
but
what we're trying to say. It
People like
smells
Nancy Pelosi
really bad.
are trying to build a commission to investigate what happened.
And I don't
The
mind.
horror, the insurrection.
I don't mind. I don't even mind the fact that they're trying to investigate this. It should be investigated. The issue I have is with Nancy Pelosi and the way she's going about it.
You really think it should be investigated?
Yeah, why not?
Well, because their investigation is not on why the Capitol Police removed the barricades. Why did they open the door to these people?
That's exactly
Why-
what they should be investigating.
Yeah, they should be investigating that, but they're not.
Why did they turn down the president's offer of 10,000 National Guard troopers to help secure national monuments?
Mm-hmm.
Why did they turn down, or why did the calls by the national police, or not the national police,
Capitol Police?
the Capitol Police, thank you. They made many calls to bring in more people
Mhm.
to help with crowd control. They were all rebuffed and ignored. Why isn't that being investigated? It has been,
But that's
by the
not what's
Capitol
going to be
Police,
investigated.
but that's not what they're investigating. What they're investigating is, what did the president do? What did you Republicans know? How can we point the finger at you?
Yeah. Exactly. That's what they're going to investigate. They're going to investigate the so-called, insurrectionists who stormed the Capitol. They're going to arrest families and for having Lego models of the Capitol building. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so one of the people that the FBI arrested, they found a model in Legos, a complete model of the Capitol in Legos in their house, and they confiscated it
Okay.
as evidence of this being.
Are you
a
sure they're not a
planned-
Lego hobbyist? I know of
Well,
a
that's
certain
the thing.
person that is.
Well, here's the first part of the story. There is a Capitol building Lego set.
yeah.
It's very expensive. It's one of the biggest and nicest of that Lego architecture series.
Okay.
And the one that they found wasn't put together. It was still in the box. This is their evidence that they were planning this the whole time, and this was more
That it
than
was
what it turned out
still
to be.
in
That it
the
was going to
box.
be bigger and more dangerous and blah, 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 blah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So, should we tell them about Ray's fixation on Legos?
Oh, I mean, they know. Follow Bricks Gone Wild at on Instagram, and you'll see all the stuff that he's been creating. It's pretty cool. But yeah, he loves Legos. He just sits there for hours.
But I don't blame people for wanting to go down to the Capitol and voice their opinion on what they felt was a absolute fraudulent election, because there was so much evidence that said
At
there's
least
something
investigate.
stinks.
Yeah, at least investigate.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
every
And then we're
attempt
seeing-
to get investigated.
And we're seeing now Maricopa County,
Yep.
big discrepancy between the original tally and the forensic audit.
Yep.
What's going to come of that? And then the other states that are following suit. What's going to happen?
What could happen now that, say, we find out that several million votes were changed, and that it's not President Biden that should have been elected, it should have been Trump that won the election.
Yeah.
What do we do? Where do we go? There was a lot of outrage at that time, and not a lot of ways to vent that frustration. And so a lot of people walked up to the Capitol building and said, "Hey, what are you going to do?"
Mm-hmm.
And now people are getting arrested, like the police officer in Windermere. He was at that protest,
Yeah.
and
He may not have even entered the Capitol.
may not have even entered.
But
They
they're
can't
rounding
prove
up.
it,
The
but
FBI is rounding up everything.
his cell phone tagged him outside the Capitol building, and so he got arrested.
That's ridiculous.
Exactly. I think it's absolutely outrageous that they would do that without some solid proof.
Well, even if it tagged him, that could be construed as proof. But how did they even get that proof?
Yeah.
How did they even get that proof? They should have no access to that. That's an egregious broach of our right to privacy.
I wonder if it was his work phone.
I don't know.
That could be. I don't know. I just know it was his cell phone.
Either way, don't really care.
But
yeah,
still,
they have every right to do that.
You should have every right to protest.
Yeah.
And as peacefully.
Yeah, peacefully. Yeah, we're not
protest.
We're not saying
Antifa.
that
we're
what
not
they
BLM.
did entering the Capitol was, a good thing. But even then, what they were doing in the Capitol was nothing compared. And
How much
you know,
damage
to-
did they
yeah,
do?
Yeah, to what happened. Nobody cares about what happened in cities all across America due to BLM and Antifa riots.
Billions of dollars in damage.
And that
Those
are still happening in freaking places like Portland.
So, did you hear about the news company that were there reporting on a protest that was going on and talking to people about, how great it is that you're coming out and doing all this? And their news van was stolen. Right there in front of them.
Yeah.
Just this week, there was a guy,
I mean, that's
his business got burned down,
it will go broke.
and he was a big proponent for Black Lives Matter. And he was like, you know what? It's okay. These are angry people venting their frustrations. It's okay my business got burned. It's all right. And so he starts up his business again. It's a restaurant business. And this time he gets a catering truck and goes out and does catering stuff as well as working in the restaurant. His catering truck got stolen at one of the protests. They took the truck with his keys, with a bunch of documents, with a bunch of money, back to his restaurant, and robbed him and burnt it down again.
What color was this guy's skin?
I believe he was Asian.
Yeah. that
I
doesn't
don't
surprise
know
me.
for sure, but just
Yeah. Okay. So then we don't know. We'll go with we don't know.
yeah,
It does. It shouldn't matter, but it does.
yeah.
In this day and age, they make it matter because everything's about race to them. But
It just the
it
ridiculousness.
would just make the story sadder if he happened to be black too, and it just goes to show you how much this isn't about Black Lives Mattering. It's
Well,
about
and his response
incessant rage
to
and
his latest
infantile
theft
people.
was, listen, if you can just return the truck, I won't press charges. It's okay. I understand you're mad. If you need food, come to me. I will feed you for the rest of your life. If you need money, I will give you a job and pay you well.
Feed you for the rest of your life. What a fool.
Seriously.
I mean, like that. The charitable heart is not a foolish thing.
No, I'm all
But
for
this
charity.
person has lost his mind.
Yeah. Well, it just goes to show how many hoops you're willing to jump through for an ideology that doesn't make sense. They burned down his restaurant twice. They stole his
food.
truck.
He's like, but I'm down with the ideology, so
But I'm okay with Black Lives Matter.
I was getting my just desserts. Potentially, or who knows? Because we don't know what.
Just the ridiculousness of stuff like that. When you have stuff like that going on a regular basis all over the country, and then you're defunding the police, which means police are having to soft enforce laws. They're not actually enforcing it. They're just kind of going, okay, guys, please stop, don't touch that, don't touch that.
Meanwhile,
People are running out of stores with thousands of dollars worth of stuff and not being prosecuted. Or, I'm sorry, up to $950 worth of stuff and not being prosecuted. Yeah.
There's just video after video after video of people walking out carrying a crap load of stuff, and they're not running.
No.
They're not. They're just casually walking around. Oh yeah, I like that. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna throw that in my bag, and I'm just gonna casually walk out the store. Go ahead, call the police. They're not gonna do anything.
Yeah. No
How
one's
are you
going to
supposed to
stop
operate
them.
a business like that?
What's going to happen is you're going to raise the prices.
Oh yeah.
Why? Because they have to.
So the
pay
only
for that.
people who will have those things are the people who have no morality.
Yep.
And will steal it. People who have morals get punished because prices go up.
Yes.
This is disgusting.
In California.
California is so bereft of morality and sanity. It's
Why don't you just start
frustrating.
doing
It's
the
frustrating.
purge?
Yeah.
Essentially, that's what you're going towards is
Feels
purge
like it, right?
levels in California. July 4th, for example, Target, Walgreens, CVS, Victoria's Secret all shut their doors, chain locked everything because they were anticipating outright vandalism
Yeah.
for the entire day.
Because this country is one thing to be hated. But so they're defunding police. Meanwhile, and then Nancy Pelosi is refusing Republicans to be added to the commission for
Correct.
January 6th.
Well, she wants specific Republicans, and
So like Liz Cheney.
there's Andrew something. I don't remember what his last name is, but he's a Republican in name only, and that's
Yeah.
giving him a lot of credit.
Yeah, exactly. What's her face from Alaska? I think. Right?
I think so, and that's it. That's all she wants. And the other 19, she wants to be all Democrats.
So, it's so pathetically blatant.
It's so
How the power grabs.
on the nose.
They don't care, and
No.
they're so smug. I mean, and then this isn't just the people in power. This is their little flunkies out in the world too. Just look at the women's soccer team. You know, kneeling yet again. Most of them. There's about 3 of them that stood up, and I salute them. Good on you. The rest of them are kneeling so smugly. They're so smug. And then they get trounced.
Do they get smug alerts?
Yeah, basically. They get trounced by, I think it was Sweden.
Sweden?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In like I think this is like a prelim to the Olympic tournament,
Probably.
something like that.
Yeah, because they do prelims, and the ones that win the prelims actually get to
Yeah, they
play
get like
in the
buys
Olympics.
and the.
No, they actually get to play in the Olympics.
Oh, okay.
The ones that lose have to go back home.
So they're trying to get into the Olympics.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So boom, big loss, 3-0. But they're so smug, and all this time, they've been demanding more money because
Yeah.
because they're winners.
Because we're woke.
When actually it turns out, and it was just like a couple of months ago, the studies that were done to figure that out. Like, are they being paid less? Should they be getting paid more? Is this, what is the cause of this, et cetera, et cetera? They finally come out and they're like, no, they've been making more than the men do.
Of course.
And it's true. I mean, and that was, yeah. And it's not that they're not actually making a larger dollar amount.
Mm-hmm.
The men are making more money in terms of dollar amount, but in terms of the percentage in comparison to what revenue they bring in from their playing,
Yes.
the percentage that they get is significantly lower. Women get a higher percentage despite nobody going to watch their games. Because nobody cares unless it's the Olympics and you won. And frankly, nobody cares until you win. Oh, you got the gold? Awesome. That's one more for America. Go USA.
We're going to watch that because
I don't really
America.
care. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't really care.
Yeah.
You know? And so, sorry, they don't care. And that's just because they're misogynistic, maybe. You know?
Nobody cared about the U.S. ice hockey team until they won against
Yeah.
Russia. They didn't. Nobody watched.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until they started winning that people went,
And there's lots
oh,
of sports,
wait.
like, you know, nobody really watches Greco-Roman wrestling,
No.
you know, or judo, you know, at the Olympics. We're watching swimming, track and field, volleyball.
Do you watch any of the triathlons or
Yeah,
anything
something like that, maybe. Yeah, archery, maybe. But like all the, not even really. I would, but I love the Olympics.
I love watching archery.
But you know, most of the
shooting
world,
and
you know, that's
whatnot.
not what they're there for. They're there for the big ones.
Yeah.
The big ones. And so, you know, get over yourself.
The 100-meter dash, the 200-meter sprint,
Mm-hmm.
the relays, the hurdles.
Exactly. The discus and the javelin throw
Yeah.
and the relays and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Or
now
the gymnastics.
but I want to go back to the idea that we've been defunding the police across the country, right?
Yes.
Or at least that certain cities have been, people and groups in certain cities have been pushing that. Lawmakers, federal lawmakers, have even joined on the side of that. But
Trying to push this idea of
Mhm.
defunding the police and bringing down that police so that they'd be less racist.
yeah, but then I have this article from CBS News on May 20th, and it says House approves $1.9 billion in emergency spending to bolster Capitol security.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. The House on Thursday narrowly approved legislation providing $1.9 billion to bolster security of the U.S. Capitol in the aftermath of the January 6th insurrection.
But nothing has happened since then.
The bill passed largely along party lines, with all Republicans present and 3 Democrats voting against it. The legislation incorporates recommendations from an outside panel to strengthen security around the Capitol complex, such as providing funding for fencing, which they took down, and making improvements to secure windows and doors, which they opened. It would also essentially create a new standing force of the D.C. National Guard to quickly respond to any threats to the Capitol after it took hours for the National Guard to be deployed on January 6th. National Guard troops have been stationed around the Capitol since January. Now, I think they've been taken away and the fencing is gone now.
Well, that's
At
a
least
little
in
dishonest
parts.
in parts of that because they never included why it took hours for the National Guard to get deployed.
Why was that?
They weren't asked for.
Hmm.
Oh, wait. Yes, they were. They were denied entry. 4 hours. Because they didn't think that it was necessary.
Hmm.
And it wasn't Trump saying this. It wasn't any of his lackeys. It was the head of security. Interesting.
And then they say that part of it, like a section of it, is going to. It would also rename a Capitol Police wellness program for U.S. Capitol Police Officer Howard Liebengood, who died by suicide after the attack, and make changes to improve trauma support. Are they? I mean, they're not blaming his suicide on the attack.
In the way they're wording it, they're actually attributing his
But-
suicide to
Like
this
the money came.
so-called attack.
The money came because of January 6th and how horrific it was, and then they're renaming this wellness program for the dude, and it's sad that he killed himself.
Yes.
And a wellness program seems to be, so maybe
I'm not against a wellness program.
Yeah, and the
to
wellness
help-
program may be tied to suicide prevention. So, I don't want to read too much into this. But why is that here? Why is that in this article?
because they're trying to
Yes.
contribute a death to this.
I
whole thing.
feel like it feels a little bit like that. But it also could just be they're mentioning a good thing. Hard to say.
Because they tried really,
I don't want to
really,
stretch it too far,
they really, really tried hard to get that guy who died from
Oh,
a
yeah.
heart attack
Yeah, definitely.
as he was
Well,
murdered
here-
by
Listen to this. Okay.
protesters.
On uscp.gov, July 6th, 2021. Okay?
Okay.
July 6th. So what? 15 days ago.
Yes.
It has been 6 months since rioters attacked the United States Capitol, and our brave police officers and law enforcement partners who fought valiantly to protect elected leaders in the democratic process. We will never forget USCP officers Brian Sicknick and Howie Liebengood, who died after the attack. Nor the sacrifices of the nearly 150 law enforcement officers who were injured. What are they talking about?
When were 150 officers injured? Because I don't
I've
remember
never
that
heard.
ever happening.
I've never heard, and that may be just a failure on my part to find it. But I've never heard about 150 law enforcement officers injured that day.
I would really like to know if there was that many that were actually injured. Because if so,
But Brian Sicknick and Howie Liebengood have nothing to do with the attack.
no, they don't.
Brian Sicknick had a heart attack or a stroke, something like that,
I think it was a heart attack.
a few days after it, and his family has repeatedly expressed that it had nothing to do. He was not hit. The reporters claim that he was hit with a fire extinguisher in the face.
In the head.
Yeah. The face
And-
is on the head. Okay.
Yeah, but it
All right.
supposedly was hit in the back of the head. with a
Okay.
fire
So his
extinguisher.
back face. All right. Get off me, bro. No. Hit in the head with a fire extinguisher, but it had nothing to do with that. He had a heart attack.
Yes.
Howie Liebengood killed himself. We just found that out from the previous article, and this is like a month. This is 2 months after that article was released. The CBS News article that was in May, I
Yeah.
believe. I said. So this is July 6th, and they're still claiming that these two people died as a result. I mean, they're not literally saying as a result. They are saying who died after the attack, but why are they even mentioning it?
Because they're
'Cause
trying to
their
imply
deaths had
that
nothing. Exactly.
These deaths are attributed to the protesters.
But then they can sit back and claim, no, we said that they died after the attack.
So what they're trying to do is, like
It's an association trick.
it's an association trick. Unlike the BLM protests, where a off-duty police officer was trying to protect a friend of his shop, and a guy walked up and shot him in the face.
Oh, you're talking about David Dorn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See that right there? If something
He
like that were
wasn't
to
even
happen,
off duty. He was a retired police chief, I think.
was he
Or
retired?
I think he was definitely retired.
Okay.
I don't know if he was the chief. I can't remember if he was a chief or just a decorated officer, maybe like a sergeant or something like that.
Okay.
But he was he was an older gentleman. He was a former cop, and he was there protecting property. Oh, he was also black, by
Yeah.
the way. And gets shot in the face.
Oh yeah. And
Disgusting.
killed.
Mm-hmm.
Shot and killed. Just like that. Because the guy wanted to steal a TV. And
Here, it's tickling the heck out of me. There we go.
so
Mm-hmm.
now
Well-
that I can associate with a protest.
Yeah.
That death directly came from that. It's a direct correlation. Now, a guy having a heart attack several days after the protest, I have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
A guy who commits suicide after the protest just happens to be near that. How do we know what he was suffering from? We don't. We don't
Yeah.
know what kind of mindset he was. He might have been fine.
Well, he was obviously in a suicidal mindset, but we don't know why.
Yeah. What if his wife just left him?
Mm-hmm.
What if he was declaring bankruptcy because we don't know?
And they won't tell you any of that either if they
No.
do know, because it's about They want to associate deaths with. They want this to be an insurrection. Deep state.
Deep state.
Pelosi,
Seriously?
Pelosi is fighting for a fair and balanced, fact-based investigation. Thanks, deep state.
How dare
Ah!
you!
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She's right. How dare us?
Oh.
But let me finish this press release. Since that day, our team has been working with federal law enforcement agents to track down the suspects and bring them to justice. So far, more than 500 defendants face charges and have been held without actually formally receiving those charges. Throughout the last 6 months, the United States Capitol Police have been working around the clock with our congressional stakeholders to support our officers, enhance security around the Capitol complex, and pivot towards an intelligence-based protective agency. To pivot towards an intelligence-based protective agency. So they're pivoting away from a police force that is essentially guarding a structure into an intelligence agency.
That sounds very
Sorry,
close to.
sorry. An intelligence. I missed 2 words in the middle. Based protective agency. But I think we could just kind of throw those 2 words out and call it an intelligence agency.
Yeah. So FBI,
USC or CIA, NSA,
Homeland
DHS.
Security.
Like we don't have enough of that. USC,
Name your acronym.
Yeah.
It's probably some sort of
EPA,
EPA.
Department of Education. Who knows?
Oh, don't get me started on them.
Yeah.
We'll talk about
USCP
them later.
continues to implement recommendations from a series of post-January 6 reviews, including examining the U.S. Capitol attack, a report by the U.S. Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Government Affairs and the U.S. Senate Committee on Rules, Capitol Security Review, blah, blah, blah. That's not important. They're expanding wellness services. I think this is them referring to what they're doing with the money. Enhanced member protection, increased training, critical incident response planning, seasoned law enforcement and operational planning experts, equipment and technology, communication, recruitment. They got $2 billion to protect one building.
That's a lot of money.
complex. It's not a building. I guess there's more than one building, but the one complex, you know. $2 billion. Now,
$2 billion. That's quite a bit of money.
now I want to take you to.
Because how much does it cost to equip the U.S. military?
A lot. I think we spent $1 trillion or something like that.
No, it's not quite a trillion. It's like 800 billion.
Okay. Yeah.
2 billion
$2 billion for security guards.
for security guards.
But no longer. They're a police force. Now listen to this. This is from Yahoo News, July 8th, 2 days after that press release.
Okay.
Capitol Police expansion to California and Florida prompt fears of government overreach. This is from Yahoo News. The U.S. Capitol Police Forces plan to open field offices in California and Florida in the wake of the January 6th riot, has critics warning of government overreach nightmare scenario. Blah, blah, blah. So they put that in quotation marks. Now it's, now we're entering into conspiracy theory territory. Acting Capitol Police Chief Yogananda Pittman. Jeez. That's a hard name to pronounce.
I'm surprised you got it right.
Yeah, it hit me by surprise. I hadn't read this article prior. Not in depth. Announced Tuesday that the department would open field offices in San Francisco and Tampa. The offices, Pittman said, will investigate threats to members of Congress. And more regional offices will be announced in the future. More regional offices. So they're opening more. They've opened 2 in California and Florida. I wonder why Florida.
Why Florida? Why California? Wouldn't that make more sense to do that in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, maybe like Virginia or Maryland or
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. I don't know.
Even
But-
that one
but,
would make more sense than
Like
Florida,
Florida-
and California.
California makes sense because California will let the federal government do anything as long as they give them money.
Good point.
California is a whore like that, you know.
How dare you!
Yeah. She knows.
Right.
Florida, probably because Florida seems to be a bastion for freedom.
You don't like Florida man.
And Governor DeSantis is doing anti-federal things quite a bit in Florida.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just staking their claim. Just
Makes sense.
Anyway, a Capitol Police spokesman said the locations were picked because the 2 coastal states are where most threats originate. Okay, I mean that's what they say. It might be true. I don't think that he released any data supporting it. But it might be true. Florida man is well known for not thinking straight.
Yeah, he robs gas stations with alligators.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And the offices plan to work closely with area federal prosecutors. In May, the department said there had been a 107% increase in threats against members compared to 2020. Wonder why.
I can't imagine why.
But plans to expand the department to a national level prompted fears of overreach. Any Capitol Police officer who steps foot in another state to set up a field office should be escorted immediately to the airport under the threat of arrest, and the National Guard should be the ones escorting, tweeted conservative radio host Jesse Kelly. Okay, I'm with that.
Yeah.
Capitol Police are opening up offices in the states and will become an intelligence gathering agency like the FBI and NSA, which they admitted to themselves. This is a nightmare scenario, one that civil libertarians of all stripes should oppose, said libertarian columnist Robbie Sawade. For House Republicans, the increase in security was ironic given the Democratic-backed defund the police movement.
You're
This
right.
is my point. But is it ironic? So we don't need to go further. They're opening up field offices around the country.
Yes, regional and local.
The Capitol Police.
Why
The Capitol Police that protects Congress in the congressional complex, the Capitol complex.
But they protect them in Washington, D.C. They have local police that do that when they're visiting
They have
their local
the Federal
precincts.
Bureau of Investigation that investigates threats to Congress.
Correct.
The
And
same
you have
Capitol
the
Police
Secret
that got,
Service.
and all that, yes. You got the Capitol, this is the Capitol Police, so the Capitol Police gets $1.9 billion after January 6th, the January 6th riot, insurrection, the storming of the Capitol, all of which, for the most part, except for that one scene, which with a known instigator and a woman getting shot, one person, and a woman gets shot, and everybody just stands there.
Yeah, they literally just
Where's no
stood around.
panic running away, no anger going for the guy who shot. Just
What do we do?
We need what?
Somebody call a paramedic.
Yeah, very strange situation.
It was really
But
weird.
she was climbing through a door.
A barricaded door.
Yeah. So weird. So weird. But the rest of the videos are them being like escorted around by. It's like a walking tour. Except for the guys in Nancy Pelosi's office taking a laptop in her podium, or
Which that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
If
well,
you're gonna
yeah.
take anything,
Yeah.
take a podium.
and her laptop, which might have proof of her traitorous ways, but that's just we have no evidence of that. So
Well,
Except
whoever
that,
took
everything
it
that she
needs to be
promotes
careful.
and talks about is anti-American in its ideology. But neither here nor there. I'm not making an accusation. I just it looks
Just-
like a duck and it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck and it smells
must
like
be
a
a
duck
frog.
and might it's probably a frog. Anyway, but so they get up $1.9 billion for this farce of a insurrection.
Yes. But
They
what are
start
gonna do with
opening up
$1.9
field
billion?
offices. Well, they're going to open up field offices and become an intelligence gathering
Agency.
agency. Yes, thank you. While being a police force. Okay. Meanwhile,
Okay.
previously to set the stage, police forces have been defunded or being called to be defunded or just been in situations by the local municipalities and authorities there such that they leave their jobs altogether because It's like we have no support, and we're supposed to go out here and risk our lives, and
For
the people
people
don't
that
even
hate us?
Yeah, for people that hate us. Nah, I got kids and a wife, and I'm gonna go and take them. We're moving, and I'm getting out of this madness. So you've got all of that happening. This is why we're still talking about January 6th, because they want to create a void, and then create a void locally, and then fill that void federally.
God, just what we need. More federals.
Yeah. This is the precursor to a federal police force. It's happening right now. They're opening regional offices. They're getting funded in the order of billions. Capitol Complex security guards, funded in the order of billions, and opening regional offices. What do we have the FBI for?
Seriously.
Oh, so that we can
facilitate
facilitate.
the Capitol Police.
Meanwhile, I was watching Tim, or I noticed him. I didn't actually see this episode, but I noticed the headline of I think yesterday's episode of Tim Pool's the Timcast. They were talking about how it's starting to possibly come to light that the FBI was involved in inciting the January 6th event altogether.
Seriously?
Yeah, let me see if I can find something.
Because if so, that would be absolutely horrendous. So, got a story that broke today about, or what I think it was yesterday. The Department of Education sent out a pamphlet to approximately 1,300 school districts regarding helping with curriculums and things like this, help teachers, help give them more resources. One of the resources was a website that they could go to help plan curriculums, to help teaching and whatnot. Come to find out, it was pushing heavily a CRT curriculum with a focus on making sure that white kids feel the discrimination that black kids feel every day.
Well, black kids don't feel discrimination every day.
You know, apparently they do.
No, they don't.
And white kids need to feel the same oppression and discrimination that these other kids do.
Black kids are
so
told
they
that
can
they feel
learn.
The black kids are told that they are discriminated against, but they actually haven't experienced.
So they can
Discrimination,
learn
not for
what it
real.
feels like, and so they can grow and be better allies.
It's madness. It's just
Absolute
stupid.
madness.
Okay,
And
so
it-
this is Fox News. Sorry, I
is it
didn't
Fo-
mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
Fox News, Tucker Carlson, government agents may have helped organize the January 6th Capitol riot. This weekend, police in Columbus, Georgia arrested a 39-year-old man called Justin Tyron Roberts. Over the course of a single day, Roberts shot 5 separate people in 2 different states. We know this because Roberts has admitted it. He also said why he did it. In his confession, police say Roberts explained that throughout his life, specifically white males had taken from him, so he decided to kill them. In one case, Roberts walked up behind a white man, total stranger.
I heard about this guy.
Yeah.
He
but wait a
walked up
second. I'm
behind-
trying to see if this is like tagged to the wrong article headline.
Yeah, he walked up to a guy in the street and just shot him in the back of the head.
Okay.
Because why? He was white. If that's not a
Okay,
hate
so I'm
crime,
gonna-
I don't know what is.
I'm gonna read this whole article, or most of it, and get to it because it does get there, and so I want to make sure that we follow the logic train.
Okay.
So it's starting in a place I didn't expect it to, but and then we'll do our final thoughts.
Okay.
Okay, so explained that throughout his life, specifically white males had taken from him, so he decided to kill them. In one case, Roberts walked up behind a white man, a total stranger, as he was getting out of a car and shot him in the back. By any definition, these were crimes of viciousness motivated by race hate. They're not unique in this country, not by a long shot. If we wanted to, and we don't, we could do a whole show on crimes like these. Nor are they especially surprising when you think about it. If you really believe the propaganda from the Democratic Party and BLM are telling you that white males are intentionally destroying the world, you might be motivated to hurt someone. Why wouldn't you? What's striking is how little attention Justin Tyron Roberts' shooting spree has received. Imagine if the colors here were reversed. Roberts would be leading every newscast tonight. Needless to say, he's not. In fact, this may be the last time you hear his name on television. On one level, that's fine with us. Picking at the wound, America's wound, is unwise. We've always thought that. We think it more than now than ever. A multiracial country can only survive if it self-consciously de-emphasizes race. If it treats every person as an individual and not a member of some larger group that's guilty or innocent. That should be the goal. It's our history and we should get back to it as soon as we can. But that's not what our leaders are doing. They're doing just the opposite. They're working hard to divide us into warring camps with lies. They're telling us a story that is completely and very much intentionally disconnected from reality. They're claiming that something called white supremacy, a term they never define, is the greatest threat we face. A greater threat than Al-Qaeda or ISIS. Our thoroughly craven Attorney General told us that very lie today, Merrick Garland. In the FBI's view, the top domestic violent extremist threat comes from racially or ethnically motivated violent extremists, specifically those who advocated for the superiority of the white race. That was the Attorney General of the United States stating a fact backed up by the FBI, so it's fair to ask the obvious questions. Who are these violent white supremacists exactly? What are their names? What crimes have they committed? We still don't know. Merrick Garland didn't tell us. He spent most of his speech talking about the riot at the Capitol on January 6th, an event that had nothing whatsoever to do with race. But Merrick Garland lied about that. He, like the rest of the liars you see on television, wants you to believe and wants history to record that January 6th was an attempted insurrection by white supremacist revolutionaries bent on taking over this country. Quote, we came this close, Garland said, and that's why, quote, we must adopt a broader societal response to tackle the problem's deeper roots, end quote. Okay, because of January 6th, says the chief law enforcement officer in the United States of America and many other members of Joe Biden's cabinet, we must now use law enforcement and military force to arrest, imprison, and otherwise crush anyone who leads opposition to Joe Biden's government. That's their position. They say it out loud. So what is this exactly? Well, it's a big change in the way the U.S. government treats its own citizens. We're looking at the transformation of a democratic republic into something else. We're looking at growing authoritarianism. That's not an overstatement. Vladimir Putin knows authoritarian systems well. He sees very clearly what's happening in this country. Keir Simmons, NBC, did you order Alexei Navalny's assassination? Putin, of course not. We don't have this kind of habit of assassinating anyone. That's number one. Number two, I want to ask you, did you order the assassination of the woman who walked into the Congress and who was shot and killed by a policeman? Do you know that 450 individuals were arrested after entering the Congress and they didn't go there to steal a laptop? They came with political demands?
Yep.
Under normal circumstances, we wouldn't quote a foreign adversary criticizing our government. True. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But honestly, those are entirely fair questions. Who did shoot Ashley Babbitt? Why don't we know? Are anonymous federal agents now allowed to kill unarmed women who protest the regime? That's okay now? No, it's not okay. It will never be okay. And why are all those January 6th protesters still in prison on trespassing charges, while so many Biden voters who torched federal buildings are walking free?
Seriously,
What?
Chaz, anyone?
Yeah. Over and over again they were let go. What's the answer to that question? If that happened in Russia, we rightly call it scary. We'd call Putin a dictator. In fact, we do call him a dictator, because it does happen in Russia.
Yes, all the time.
He's probably lying about Alexei Navalny's assassination.
No.
Yeah, but he's using our own. He's using our own
Dysfunction.
giant problems. Yeah, our own dysfunction against us. And speaking of January 6th, why are there still so many things, basic factual matters we don't know about that day? Why is the Biden administration preventing us from knowing? Why is the administration hiding more than 10,000 hours of surveillance tape from the U.S. Capitol? What could possibly be the reason for that? Even as they call for more openness, we need to get to the bottom of it. They could release those tapes today, but they're not. Why? We ought to be asking those questions urgently, because as the Attorney General reminded us, a lot depends on the answer. At least one news organization is. Revolver.news is a news site and turned out to be one of the last honest outlets on the internet. A new piece on the site suggests an answer to some of those questions. We know the government is hiding the identity of many law enforcement officers who were present at the Capitol on January 6th, not just the one who killed Ashley Babbitt. According to the government's own court filings, those law enforcement officers participated in the riot, sometimes in violent ways. We know that because without fail, the government has thrown the book at most of the people who were in the Capitol on January 6th. There was a nationwide dragnet to find them. Many of them are still in solitary confinement tonight. But strangely, some people who participated in the riot haven't been charged. Look at the documents. The government calls these people unindicted co-conspirators. What does that mean? It means that in potentially every case, they're FBI operatives. For example, one of those unindicted co-conspirators is someone the government identifies only as Person 2. According to those documents, Person 2 stayed in the same hotel room as an insurrectionist named Thomas Caldwell, who's alleged to be a member of the group called the Oath Keepers. Person 2 also stormed the barricades at the Capitol on January 6 alongside Thomas Caldwell. The government's indictments further indicate that Caldwell, who by the way is a 65-year-old man, was led to believe there would be a quick reaction force also participating in January 6th. That quick reaction force, Caldwell was told, would be led by someone called Person 3, who had a hotel room and an accomplice. But wait, here's the interesting thing. Person 2 and Person 3 were organizers of the riot. The government knows who they are, but the government has not charged them. Why is that? You know why. They were almost certainly working for the FBI. So FBI operatives were organizing the attack on the Capitol on January 6th, according to government documents, and those two are not alone. Just
Mic
dropped my
drop.
phone. Yep. This is all,
Like
I think, and I don't think it's too far of a stretch. I think this is all to nationalize our police force, to have a federal police force in every state taking over. Let's see, we've got Pixelated 24. The reason they are still talking about January 6th is because they want to associate the word coup with Republicans. When the coup was successful, they literally cheated him out of office, but but that wasn't the place. If you go watch Bernie talk about what he was predicting, it's like the smart kid who's in on a plan and has to say it aloud so he sounds smart in his head. He said something along the lines of Trump would announce he won at 10 p.m. We'd wake up and he would lose and start saying that he won. I think they wanted him to stay in the White House so they could drag him out of office and arrest him and split the country down the middle. Because Trump's side would have sided with him. Their only goal is to tear the parties and people apart from each other. I agree with that. I agree with most of that. I don't think they wanted him to win, or else he would have won if they stole the election, you know?
Well,
but
I don't think it was an election. I think it was a selection.
Yeah,
like
that's
we've
what I'm
been
saying. Yeah. So if and I don't think it's a big if they messed with the election and we got the outcome we did, they didn't want him. They didn't want him. They wanted him to stay in the White House. Oh, okay. They want you. Okay. They wanted him to resist the
results.
The results. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense too. Yeah, for sure. But I think that this is all also about a federal police force. They're creating. This is like the Watchmen.
Oh dear Lord!
You know, what's his face? Orpheus, right?
For
the
Watchmen?
Yeah.
Are you talking about the comic book, or are you talking about the movie?
The comic book.
Okay, I haven't read the comic book.
Okay, well,
believe it or not, I haven't read that one.
is his name Orpheus? It's not Orpheus. It's Ozymandias. That's the character's name. Ozymandias, in both the movie and in the comic book, creates this worldwide thing that then is supposed to unite everybody. But
by
Rorschach,
killing 1 million people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, in the comic book, it's a giant mutated monster that dies as soon as it appears, but it basically unites Earth against an alien threat that doesn't exist. He manufactured it.
Well,
and
no, it doesn't. It's not about the alien threat. In the movies, it was against.
Yeah, in the movies they changed it.
Yeah, Dr.
Manhattan.
Manhattan. Yeah, they made it so it looks like he wiped out 1 million people just like that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't him.
Exactly. They're doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
They create this insurrection,
This evil.
you know.
Evil.
They start this movement to defund the police. They select the new president, getting people pissed off because it's so blatantly obvious. And then they can pass things like billions of dollars to the police force. They can open up regional offices because everybody's like, oh well, yeah, but there was that insurrection, so maybe they should be,
No, they shouldn't.
investigating threats to the Senate. Well, no, that's the FBI's job.
That's the FBI's job. That's the Secret Service job.
And I think there's
That's
very strong
nation-
arguments that there should be no FBI, maybe.
There's also Homeland Security.
Homeland Security.
Three
Yeah.
agencies
Yeah.
that are supposed to be tasked with already doing this, and now they're expanding another one because they don't want to use these three because they're not really supposed to do what these three are supposed to do.
Exactly.
They want this new one to do more of what they'd like to do, which is be a federal police force.
We don't have links set up on the chat, Pixelated, but we do have a Discord
Mhm.
that you can join. If you start up the Discord, you can post the link in the chat. We can post the link. We have it set there, but it's different. It's just...
So while I'm getting this ready, do you have any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. My final thought is just be aware of what's going on around you. And go to invite people. Yeah, right there. And then just hit copy, and then you can paste it in the chat. You have to go off of multi-stream to paste.
Yep.
Anyway, okay, so be aware of what's going on around you. Also, seriously, it didn't. Okay.
It's not doing it.
Control V.
Not doing that either. All right.
Well,
Keep
he'll
going.
work on it. I'll keep talking.
Yeah, you keep talking. I got this.
Yes, final thoughts. Yes, we're ending the stream. So be aware of what's going on around you. But also, I believe that this world is more than physical. And there is there's a lot of things out there beyond just, the workaday worries of, politics, and those are real things.
Yep.
But yeah, there's more than just politics going on. There's a spiritual battle too,
An ideological battle.
an ideological battle, a spiritual battle. I was talking with him earlier. Ray got me hooked on this Blurry Creatures podcast. If you like listening about things that go bump in the night and other such stuff, definitely look into that podcast. It's really good. And I don't have much to say about it, but that's...
You've said quite a bit tonight.
Yeah. But that's where I'm going. Check it out. I also added a conspiracy channel on the Discord, so you can jump on there and talk about it if you can do it. Don't do that. Click out of there. Yeah, hit that invite people and see what that does. Try copying that. And then go down to the...
I'm not getting anything.
Here we go.
There it is.
All right. There's the Discord. channel.
Yay!
Enjoy, welcome. And do you have a final thought, Dusty?
I do, actually. This idea that in order for us to understand and empathize with people of color, that white people need to go through the same type of pain and the same type of treatment is just laughable. It is it's horrible.
Yeah, it's wrong.
Just because somebody goes through something traumatic doesn't mean you have to go through the exact same thing in order to understand that it's bad.
And to empathize. Now, to sympathize, sure. Because that means that you have experienced.
Correct.
There's a difference between experience and understanding, but we're all intelligent enough, for the most part, to understand what somebody's been through and how rough that could be.
There are cases where kids are being bullied because of the color of their skin, because they're white, and teachers are not doing anything about this. Why not? Why aren't teachers treating this the exact same? Doesn't matter the skin color, because it just goes into racism is racism. It doesn't matter what color of skin you have.
With that, they're trying to change the definitions. Racism is prejudice plus power. And if you're not white, you don't have power, so you can't be racist. It's such garbage.
And
it's garbage.
I hear this white privilege all the time. Here's the thing. If you're talking about white privilege, you're obviously already thinking that white people are better than anybody else.
Yeah, you, sir, are a white supremacist.
Yes. I do not think I have white privilege. I do not think I have any other privilege other than I am alive. I'm in America. Well, I am privileged in that regard.
What you think is that you, as an individual, have your own sets of privileges and disadvantages.
Correct.
And
I have a hard time reading. I've got dyslexia. Guess what? That's my disadvantage. You know what? I don't hold it against anybody else because I have trouble reading.
Yeah. The conservative, the libertarian, the free-minded person, the Rube Empire citizen, understands that every single person, every single individual has their own individual sets of advantages and disadvantages. Some are worse than others.
Yeah.
Some start you back farther.
Yep.
Some of them are inherent to who you are. Some of them are caused by external factors. Choices that you never made.
Yep.
Choices that your parents might have made. Who knows? There's all kinds of stuff wrong with the world. Demonizing a race, it does not solve any of those problems.
No.
It only creates more problems, and it makes damn right, JBN. Citizens unite.
Free citizens unite.
Yes. For freedom.
For freedom.
Not for collectivism.
Not for collectivism. Not for coming together just because. No. Freedom comes at a cost.
Yeah.
That cost has to be fought every single day. Every single day.
If you don't put in your bucko 5, who will?
Exactly. So, put your bucko 5 in. Push back against this collective communist theory of socialism. Because it is communism.
Pixelated 24, thank you for the follow.
All right.
Welcome to the Rube Empire. And with that being said, you've been watching Plausible Foolishness, home of the Rube Empire, where the people are free, taxes are voluntary.
Unless you're me.
I don't think you paid your taxes today, so...
I have not. I got busy. Sorry.
Go get the whip. And taxes are voluntary for everybody but him.
Yeah.
And
I pays the taxes.
And we serve freshly roasted liberal logic every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. right here on twitch.tv/Plausible Foolishness. YouTube, Facebook Live, anywhere you can get a podcast, Rumble, and Instagram and Minds. And follow us. Tell your friends. Spread the news. Invite them. Have them become citizens. Support us. It all helps us grow the channel. It helps us grow the audience. We enjoy doing this, and we're trying to make it happen. We've been doing it for a while. So,
hey, we're on episode 170.
Yeah, exactly. We've done 170 episodes.
That's 170.
Let's grow this thing, man.
So next
Citizens Unite, JBN. Get out there. Tell your friends. Make them watch.
So next week we have a little bit of a change, just to give you guys a heads up. Ray is coming back.
Yes.
Yay, Ray. I will not be here.
The Ebony Rampart.
But Ray will be here. It's going to be a great show. I can't wait to watch and pay my taxes.
Barbara Peterson with the like. Welcome to the Rube Empire.
Yeah. Relation.
I figured.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Have a great night.
Peace out.
I told him someday I would buy guys with good oars and sails to distant shores. Stand up high in the proud, noble bark I steer, steady course for the havens. Too many foemen, too many foemen, too many foemen.
Tens of thousands on my right, thousands by my side. War between good and evil, watching our fists collide. Battle for our freedom now, to the streets we ride. Flags waving all around, pages full of pride. This is where we make a stand, no more give or take. March around the Capitol, storm the city gates. Putting pressure on their necks until the truth breaks. All walls of corruption, take out all the snakes. Star Spangled Banner, got it playing loud and proud. People from all walks of life filling up the crowd. Defend the Constitution, many warriors have vowed. Casting down any among us who have bucked and cowed. Enough with tyranny, we come to take our country back. For all citizens, white, red, brown, or black. Return her to a form of glory, fix the bloody crack on the crown. Fetch it down, it's going down.
Someday I would buy bodies with good oars and sails to distant shores. Stand up high in the proud, noble bark I steer, steady push for the havens. Too many foemen.
My mama told me, yeah, she warned me that this day would come. I'm like my father, go to combat with the blazing guns. I survived that, then I came back to the place I'm from to face off all these haters and the battle in the place I love. You can't break me down, I'm indivisible. You still see my raps if I was invisible. But I'm standing tall, and I spit the truth. So you all appalled, cause you know it's true. They call it freedom cause the fallen troops pay for this. I love this country, doesn't matter how much hate I get. I take my colors in the battle, ain't no wavering. Cause this is for my warriors who marching to the cadences. This is for the sisters working hard on the ship. This is for the brothers getting y'all doctorate. Father, yeah, taking y'all on the ship. Baby, tell me why it's hard for the patriot.